Can I have 30 more seconds?
Proceed.
Dr. Is it Clausing? Clausing?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you and Dr. Yagan, why do y'all want to punish wealthy people?
I think I can speak for both of us that we're not interested in punishing anyone. We're interested
Well,
in
you're
having
interested
a
in taxing
fiscal
the hell out of
system.
them more than anybody else.
I think
the
what
makes you think that making tax policy on the basis of class or status makes sense?
I think it's a very American phenomena that throughout the history of the income tax, we have valued progressivity, and our current income tax does that. We used to rely on things like tariffs to raise revenue. Tariffs are regressive consumption taxes that disproportionately hurt the poor. Like, we believe in this country that those with the greater ability to pay should pay more of the burden. And that's part of what a healthy capitalism does. It enables people to gain from things like trade and technological change and business innovation, and to contribute a little more to the fiscal system when they're very successful in doing so. And I think that that's a very legitimate way to structure the tax system.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do you think so many wealthy people are leaving New York City?
New York City is, an incredible city of innovation, immigration, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but why are so many wealthy people leaving?
I think there are big advantages to living near centers of entrepreneurial activity, and we see that on the West.
You think they're leaving to be nearer to centers of entrepreneurial activity, do you?
Well, I don't think there are a lot of people, fleeing New York City. That New York City has.
Sure they are. There are thousands. I mean, there have been study after study after study. Why are so many wealthy people leaving New York City?
I think there's an enormous number of wealthy people who are in New York City and continue.
But why are so many leaving?
I can't speak to why particular people
I can
leave.
tell you why. It's taxes.
Senator John Kennedy just sat 3 economists down in front of Congress and asked them one of the simplest questions in politics. Should Americans pay taxes on money they haven't even made yet? What happened next tells you everything about how the left thinks about your money. Like and subscribe to this channel for more news like this.
Have to pay tax on unrealized gain. Why can't you just answer me?
Yes, there are some who should.
Who?
The ultra-wealthy who have liquidity should prepay some tax.
What if they don't have liquidity?
They should not have to pay, and they will owe at sale, bequest, or gift.
So if you have cash, you ought to have to pay, but if you don't have to pay?
To prepay. I have in my testimony, there are examples of how this works so that you can preserve incentives to build a new company, take it public.
Okay. What do you think, Dr. McBride? Do you think we should start taxing unrealized gain? And what do you think that'll do to the economy?
Well, I have several concerns about the approach. The first of which is it's completely untested. It's never been tried in this country. We have more than 100 years of history with the income tax, and
Europe's tried it, haven't they?
No, they've tried wealth taxes.
Yeah.
Their experience with wealth taxes has
How
been
did that turn out?
Bad. It
Why is
resulted
that?
in a lot of taxpayers exiting the country, for one thing. In France, for instance, other countries that have tried it. And you suddenly lose a big chunk of your tax base that you're trying to tax there. We have that option in this country as well. The result has been that most of those countries in Europe that have tried a wealth tax have rolled them back, including France, because they were administratively challenging. The basic challenge is what you're describing, trying to value assets without real market transactions. So this is a valuation dispute. It means we get the IRS engaged in yet another challenge. They're currently doing this with the estate tax. Those estates that are subject to the estate tax, those valuation episodes can go years and years and years.
Can I have 30 more seconds?
Proceed.
Dr. Is it Clausing? Clausing?
Yes.
Yeah. Why do you and Dr. Yagan, why do y'all want to punish wealthy people?
I think I can speak for both of us that we're not interested in punishing anyone. We're interested
Well,
in
you're
having
interested
a
in taxing
fiscal
the hell out of them
system.
more than anybody else.
I think
The
what
makes you think that making tax policy on the basis of class or status makes sense?
I think it's a very American phenomena that throughout the history of the income tax, we have valued progressivity, and our current income tax does that. We used to rely on things like tariffs to raise revenue. Tariffs are regressive consumption taxes that disproportionately hurt the poor. Like, we believe in this country that those with the greater ability to pay should pay more of the burden. And that's part of what a healthy capitalism does. It enables people to gain from things like trade and technological change and business innovation, and to contribute a little more to the fiscal system when they're very successful in doing so. And I think that that's a very legitimate way to structure the tax system.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do you think so many wealthy people are leaving New York City?
New York City is, an incredible city of innovation, immigration, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but why are so many wealthy people leaving?
I think there are big advantages to living near centers of entrepreneurial activity, and we see that on the West.
You think they're leaving to be nearer to centers of entrepreneurial activity, do you?
Well, I don't think there are a lot of people, fleeing New York City. That New York City has.
Sure there are. There are thousands. I mean, there have been study after study after study. Why are so many wealthy people leaving New York City?
I think there's an enormous number of wealthy people who are in New York City and continue.
But why are so many leaving?
I can't speak to why particular people
I can
leave.
tell you why.
know
It's
that-
taxes. You know that as well as I do. It's
I
taxes.
think if you look at the economic,
Some of it's crime, but most of it is taxes.
well,
People vote with their feet. The same reason that people are leaving California and moving to Austin.
If you look at California, it's one of the most successful economies in the world, and it continues to be so. It attracts people.
But they're
as
losing
well.
people.
I don't think it's in any danger of decline, nor is New York City. And these are very vibrant places.
I don't think we're going to
for
ever
fundamental
agree.
reasons. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to ever agree. But I appreciate the time of all three of you.
Thank you.
To be fair, there also are people moving the other way. There are people who move to New York. They just don't all leave from New York. It's a two-way street in and out of New York, and it's a two-way street between Austin and California. People leave Texas and go to California, and some of them do very well.
Well, that's true, Sheldon, but I can show you study after study after study, as you well know, and as the professor knows, that shows that people are leaving high-tax states and moving to low-tax states. All you have to do is
Well, they also leave.
all you have to do is look at the demographics. Pick the 9 states that have, say, a state income tax, and compare that, or that don't have a state income tax, and compare that to the states that do. It's called tax avoidance, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly legal.
People have different preferences. If you look at where immigrants choose to live in the United States, they often go to those same places that you were talking about. So I do think that, there's movement in both directions.
Yeah, but here's my point. Mm-hmm. Here's what I think rational people do, and here's what I bet all three of you would do, and I bet Sheldon would do it because he's a smart guy. Okay, if he won the lottery tomorrow and won $10 million and paid his taxes and has $6 million left, he's going to at least consider, you are too, moving to Florida because
No, I
they don't have
wouldn't.
a state income tax.
For the record, no, I wouldn't. Never crossed my mind.
Well, most rational. Well, I don't mean you're irrational, Sheldon, you know that. But
It can be quite rational to not want to
But
live
when
in
you're
Florida right
liquid,
now.
when you're liquid, and you don't have to pay a 6% off the top versus 0%, it's a rational economic move, is it not?
I agree. It's rational. I mean, the thing about taxes that we're talking about is they're a cost or a price, and so claiming that this cost or price doesn't matter is essentially throwing out the very basic law of demand, the basic fundamental idea in economics that prices matter, that costs matter.
See, this is what this always boils down to, and there's no way we'll ever agree, okay? But at least two of you believe that government all things being equal, can spend a dollar better than people can. That's your this is America. You can believe that.
For the record, that's not in their testimony.
I just don't agree with you. I think people can spend the dollar better, all things being equal. And all you have to do, if you know the history of government, you know that I'm right. But I don't expect you to agree with me because you're professors. Okay? Thanks, Sheldon.
Always entertaining. Senator Kennedy, thank you so much for being here.
So Kennedy opens by asking Dr. Yagin, if you were king for a day, what 3 changes would you make to the tax code? And right out of the gate, this economist lays it out. Equalize labor and capital tax burdens, close what he calls the Gingrich-Edwards loophole, and end trust abuse to shore up the estate tax. Fine, those are debatable policy positions. But then Kennedy does something smart. He stops the academic language and makes it personal. He asks a simple question. Should an American who inherited a piece of land from their parents, land that went up in value because an interstate got built nearby, should that person have to pay taxes on that gain if they never sold the property? And the economist starts dancing. He won't give a straight yes or no. Kennedy has to ask him 4 different times before he finally gets an answer. And the answer is essentially, yes, if you're wealthy enough and liquid enough, you should prepay taxes on money you haven't received yet. Let that sink in. The government wants a cut of gains that exist only on paper. You haven't sold anything, you haven't received a dollar. But according to this line of thinking, you owe them. Kennedy turns to the other economist, Dr. Clousing, and asks flat out, why do you want to punish wealthy people? And she says, and I'm not making this up, we're interested in taxing the hell out of people who have more than anybody else. That's not tax policy, that's a confession. Kennedy then pivots to something nobody in Abaddon wants to answer. Why are wealthy people leaving New York City and California by the thousands? The economist tries to dodge it, says she can't speak to why particular people leave, says New York is still vibrant, says it's a 2-way street. Kennedy doesn't let her off the hook. He points to study after study showing people are leaving high-tax states for low-tax states, and then he makes the most common-sense point of the entire hearing. If you won the lottery tomorrow and had $6 million left after taxes, you would at least consider moving to Florida where there's no state income tax, because prices matter. Costs matter. That's not greed. That's basic economics. And then he lands the whole thing with one line. 2 of you believe the government can spend a dollar better than the people who earned it. I don't. And all you have to do is look at the history of government to know I'm right. This is what happens every time Democrats talk about tax reform. It starts with the ultra-wealthy and ends with the government's hand in your pocket before you've made a single dollar. Kennedy saw through it in real time. Share this so more people can too.